How's it going, guys? We are live. Welcome to the Bags to Riches podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ginn. In today's video, we are going to be talking about all about wholesaling real estate systems. It's pretty exciting. I'm pretty pumped up for it. And we are going to break down all the systems you need to know about your real estate wholesaling business. In this video, we are with Charles Hernandez. Charles, thank you so much for hopping on today.
Hi, brother. Can you see me, man?
No, I think you got you had your camera that kind of popped
There we
off.
go.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go, man. All right.
You're fine, man. So
All right.
so we got Charles Hernandez from San Antonio, Texas. He is from Home Buying, Home Selling. Probably said that wrong, but it's HBHS. That's how I know him from. The yellow and black. Always giving value. Charles, thank you so much for hopping on today.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I've been watching you for quite a minute, and I think you're doing some phenomenal stuff, man. I totally agree with you on pretty much everything you say, especially when it comes to, people just got to get going, man, and stop being taken advantage of, wake up, so I'm down with all that, man.
Boom. I love it, man. Charles keeps it real. That's why I had to get him on today. So Charles, just so everyone who knows who you are, what is HBHS? Who are you and what do you do?
So HPHS stands for Home Buying, Home Selling. We started out as a realty company back in 2012, and we quickly got into fix and flipping. So we got into that. Back in the day, there wasn't a lot of people that were sharing a lot of information. It wasn't like it is today. So we had to reverse engineer a lot of things. We heard about wholesaling, and you'd ask people, they wouldn't tell you. So we had to reverse engineer how to do subject twos, pretty much everything. And so we learned by taking it on the loans a lot. So to answer your question, HBHS is a company that does quite a bit of stuff. We have a brokerage. We have a team that does multifamily and dirt. We have a team that does fix and flip. We have a team that does wholesaling. And we have a team that all they do is look for creative financing and subject twos. We all work together. There's nobody here that's an employee. They all work with us, not for us. And I can elaborate on that. And then we also run what I believe at this moment is the largest RIA in San Antonio 4 months in.
Woo.
Yeah.
Wow. That's huge. I'm huge congrats on that. I mean, I run my own little mastermind, and that thing is a lot of work, but it's insane and it's really valuable. So congrats on all that stuff. I mean, I see your stuff on YouTube. I see your stuff everywhere, and it's really exciting. But San Antonio is a crazy market. So that's exciting. I can't wait. There's so much to unpack here, but the title of this video is Wholesaling Systems 101. And Charles, he is not just a wholesaler. He does everything. And if you watch my business, I don't stick just to wholesaling either. I do creative financing. I do fixing. I do it all because I do what makes me the most money possible. If I did just wholesaling, I'd be leaving so much money on the table. Charles knows this as well as anyone does. So we are talking about wholesaling systems, but remember the systems that Charles talks about in his realty, his fix and flipping, how to deal with people and employees in a real estate business will be super useful for you in your wholesaling business. So every piece of knowledge he gives about running an operation, guys, take that down and use it for your wholesaling business. That's the one thing I can tell you. The stuff I've learned from managing VAs, not in just wholesaling in general, has helped me with my acquisitions people, my dispo people. So Charles, what is your system looking like today? What is the whole HBHS system look? So who's on the top, who's on the bottom, and let me know.
So one of our for us as a company, one of the things that we concentrate on is always trying to figure out, what are people's strengths. So a lot of times people are just concentrating on real estate. What I like to concentrate on is what are people's strengths. For example, sometimes people will wonder why they're having a hard time, but they're learning a lot. And then they'll see somebody that has an easier time, but they're not really putting a lot of effort into it. And what I tell them is, if you understand who you are, you understand how to get there. So if somebody has charisma or they have a network already, they're going to get there a lot faster with limited information. Now, if they go hardcore and they really grasp the information, they're going to go very far. For someone that's an introvert, they just got to push harder, man. They got to work harder. They got to pay attention more, and they got to put more reps in. And so I share this with my people because I need them to know, why some of them do better than others. Here in the office, we have what we call a boiler room. We have what we call legions. The legions, they're just banging out calls, doing the SMSing, all that stuff. Then we have a handful of closers, and that's what they do, man. They close deals, and we also run VAs. We run VAs strictly. With our VAs, we just have them doing just warm calls. I don't have them doing closing or very in-depth questions. It's just handoffs. So one thing that I like about what you say is, get to the point, and the faster you get to the point and figure out whether it's going to happen or not, you're going to get to the next lead. As a matter of fact, I will share something with you. Your skit that you put out the other day.
Which one?
The one it's I don't have it verbatim in my mind, but it gets to the point. And your 4 points, the condition, the motivation, and
oh yeah,
brother, I put that in my boiler room. I say, guys, this is a script you guys are going to start following right now.
I two reasons why I do that. First of all, if you guys don't know, this I didn't learn this. I'm not the one who founded this. This stuff is all Carlton Sheets OG stuff from the 80s. So this all old boiler room stock brokerage stuff. The four most important things for seeing if a seller's legit or not, I've boiled it down to the condition, the motivation, the time frame, and the price. That's basically it. So I do it because when I literally go blank with a seller, those are the four things that like I have memorized. It's like, okay, bring it to this, and this. I think it's, oh wait, hold on. First of all, Nick Tim says, I think this is pre-recorded. It's not pre-recorded. This is live, Nick, just so you know. Okay, so I love that stuff because it's the easiest thing to do in my mind. I keep it simple because I don't think everyone's an expert in wholesaling. You don't have to be. So yes, that's a little skit thing I do. I love it. It's helped me out a lot, but that's awesome. You have it on there, but
I love it, man. I made it part of our I actually made it the centerpiece of our calling now, and have our people training on it. I added some of our stuff in there. That, for example, if somebody just absolutely wants to hang up on you, the one thing that I always tell my people, and I tell them, I say, look, I just want to make you an offer, and get to the point. For example, somebody says, hey, look, man, what's your offer? I tell my guys, don't go any further than that. Say, what's your email? And the reason I say that is, what's your email? I'll send you an offer right now. So when you send the email, now you get to talk to them. You say, hey, Mr. Jones, I totally get it. This might not be the offer that you will accept or want, but here's the offer that I said I will send you. Now, if you give me a few minutes, I'm sure I can send you a fabulous offer. So now you get to tell them what you want to tell them. But the key thing is, don't sit there and argue with somebody or try to pull teeth from them when they're telling you, well, what's your offer, man? So yeah, I incorporated your skit. I like it, whether it's Carlton Sheets or not. I like the way you do it. And I added a little bit of my flavor in there. My guys they're working, and they already picked up some deals from it too, man.
Ooh, let's get it, man. I love it. Oh my gosh. So your operation though, so it's you and Michael. So who's Michael, and is he the COO, or like what's the situation with that?
So Michael and I, Michael's my son-in-law. He married my daughter. Yeah. And so just a quick little clip notes, man. I'll tell you this. I tell everybody, you can't dwell on the past, but I come from the worst of the worst, man. I come from an ugly part of what I call Violentville, USA, man. So, I eventually, made some changes. I went to school. I believe education is good. I got a degree. I was the first one in my family to go to university. I got a degree in financing. Then I went into mortgages. I thought that's what it was. And today I tell people you should still get some education, but you can make things happen if you push, man, especially in this business. So, I was in the mortgage business. I was doing very well. The crash came. I got crushed. I lost a lot of money. I got depressed. I got fat because, I never had money before. And then I had money, I lost it all. And then around 2012, I started HBHS as a realty company. That's right around the time that Michael was dating my daughter. We made friends. We got together. I told him, hey, man, you want to do this real estate thing? And he dove into it. And before we knew it, man, we were just knocking out deals. His first year as a rookie agent, he banged out over 60 traditional real estate deals while he was also stationed here at Fort Sam. So I tell everybody, man, if there's a way to do it, you're going to find a way to do it, man. And so we just make it happen. Michael, I'll say a little something about him. He was 12 years in the Army. He don't like to talk about it too much. He's very modest, but man, he was a medic. He saw action twice. He was in war twice. He saved a lot of soldiers, man. Every once in a while, you'll get a soldier who comes in here and everybody knows it's kind of a certain mood. They just go in there. They talk very privately. Everybody gives him respect. And so in my eyes, man, he's a hero, man. He saved a lot of our soldiers over there in the midst of running towards the bullets.
Wow. Shout out to Michael. Like, I appreciate his service. All out for everyone that served in wholesaling. So, wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy. That's awesome. I gotta get him on the podcast too.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about real estate. But how is it though working with him, especially in an operation you have? Because how different is it that he's family versus just a regular partner?
Well, earlier,
dynamic, right?
Yeah, earlier you said we run it as co-CEOs. And the reason we do that, let me tell you what we did when we first got together. So I had been in other partnerships. So we started out with 4 primary pillars. One was everything's HBHS. And that meant everything's 50-50, debt's 50-50. The other thing is no side deals, because I believe that breaks up partnerships when you start doing side deals and stuff. And the other part was we both have a say. So if he wants to do a deal and I say no, we just go to the next one. We don't argue. If he wants to do a deal and I say, look, whatever, and it goes bad, which we've been lucky. We've never had deals go bad, man. We've been real lucky. And I'll tell you about that in a minute, how we protect ourselves. But I can't go back and say, man, well, you screwed up. So the other thing is we both have the say to tell each other, hey, man, lock it up. So if we're having a disagreement, he's usually telling me to lock it up and get out of his office. But I got to lock it up right there, man. We just stop. And then that's how we run our company. Those 4 rules right there have kept us not only honest, but have kept us in line, have kept us focused. Man, there's days his office right next to mine. There's days sometimes we don't talk to each other for a couple of days because you need that time. But we do talk in the mornings, afternoons, and at night, which is real quick.
Wow. Okay. I mean, it's interesting being the family dynamic, but the no side deals thing, I 100% agree. Make it a partnership. It makes it a lot smoother. And you can't, with family, you can't really reverse that. So it's interesting. So your operation, so what do you think makes the most money? Which one? So is it the fix and flipping? Is it the creative finance, the wholesaling? Which is like the big kahuna when it comes to your actual business model right now? The realty side?
Yeah. So for us, Michael and I spent about, I would say from 2012 to like 2016, just building, flipping and building a portfolio. We did wholesaling, but we weren't really big into wholesaling back then. Yeah. It was a lot of portfolioing properties. So we have a lot of properties in trust that we hold, and that right there makes really good money every single month. We can count on it. It comes in. I tell people, man, start today. If you do one a month for 5 years, in 5 years, you'll have 30 properties. It's that simple, man. We'll do one every 2 months. You have 5 years, you have 30 properties. Anyway, so we hold almost 100, and then we hold interest in some large complexes where we're passive investors. We hold some smaller units, some fourplexes, and so I would say that's where a lot of our money comes from right there. And then we do some flips. We try to do flips where we have good returns. And then, of course, the wholesaling. So the wholesaling, it's always good. We always make money. I mean, we've we're never struggling on the wholesaling. We cracked the 6. We've cracked into the $250,000 before. Some of our biggest wholesales, for example, we do this thing called an LLC capture, and I'd love to drop it for all your people. I want to give them a treat if you let me. We do this thing called the LLC capture, and our biggest deal on that was $145,000. But I will say, guys, it doesn't come with pain. I mean, sometimes we have, like, for example, in December, we had over 80 contracts. But guess what? By January, we had to, we overstacked all our stuff. We got a bunch of crap contracts, and we had to, for the first time, accept the fact that, we had made a mistake. We had to get rid of a lot of those deals, unfortunately. And so it's not all what people see on Facebook, man. Sometimes we got problems, like anybody else. But yeah, the wholesaling is good. We make money, man. The guys make money. The portfolio, I would say, is the biggest thing for us, man.
That portfolio is amazing. I mean, considering you came from nothing and you made money, lost it all, you probably don't want to lose that again. So that portfolio has got to be amazing. I mean, who are you really doing this for? Like, obviously you have a lot of money now. Like, why do you keep going? If you have a big portfolio, 100+ properties, you could probably retire.
So
Why do you keep going?
So Mike and I have talked about that. He's a young man. He's 32, and I'm a lot older than him, but I still got a lot of juice in me, man. I still got a lot of hustle in me. I'm not the type of guy that just. I mean, every day I'm the first one here. I'm usually one of the last ones here, or Mike, and we just love it, man. We love the hustle. So I'll share something with you. For us, it don't stop. Like, we just started Turn Up the Hustle Entertainment, and we're going to start bringing in, artists here to San Antonio. Our first one is Paul Wall. He's going to come in and he's going to do a show in July. We're bringing him in. So we're always, I don't know. I can't tell you, man. I don't know. Maybe in 10 years, I'll be ready to retire. If we were to liquidate all our stuff right now, yeah, I could go live easy and relax and stuff, but I'm not ready for that, man. I just, I'm not a showboater like yourself. I hear you say this a lot. I tell everybody, look, man, I got 3 watches, and I know you don't like expensive watches, but I got 3 Rolexes. They're not big things. They're just, a Yachtsman, 2 Submariners. I'm happy with that. That's as flashy as I'm gonna get, man. That's as flashy I'm gonna get. So that's just to let people know, man. I do have a little money, but you're not gonna see me. Michael's a little different. He likes he likes to dress up, but me, I'm just a regular guy, man.
Dude, I don't know why you say that, because the biggest flex is 100 properties in a trust. That's a bigger flex than any Lamborghini or house or anything. I have 100 properties like that.
Well, almost. But we have them in different trusts. And the reason we do that is because we used to put them into LLCs, and we still have a few in LLCs. Mm-hmm. But when we were doing, we did a lot of subject to wraps, and we had some of those notes called on us. And what people don't realize is that shit really happens, and you got to be ready to pay those notes off, because if you wrapped it for somebody and that person's living in that home, it's not his fault that you took a sub 2 and wrapped it, and so what we found is this, Zach. A lot of people don't realize this, and here's the thing, man. There's a lot of people teaching subject 2, and it seems real sexy because they're just teaching all the front end stuff, but they don't talk about the back end stuff. Like, what if the seller files bankruptcy? What if the buyer files bankruptcy? Or what? Check this out. A lot of times there's a lot of attorneys too, guys. You guys that are paying attention, look, I don't have anything against attorney. I love attorneys. But if you're going to go with an attorney, you need to ask them, especially if you're doing credit financing or sub 2, is when have you done a deal? When was your last deal? And how many do you hold? Because you can write paper all day long, but if you ain't holding properties, then you don't know what really happens. And let me tell you why. You have attorneys that say do LLCs, subject to LLCs, but guess what? If the owner dies, that POA you got ain't no good.
Yep.
Now we put them into trust. I become the trustee, and our company has the beneficiary interest in that trust. Guess what? If that person gets lost or passes away, guess who still makes decisions for that trust?
You.
Yeah. So you learn this stuff by doing a lot of deals, and what I see a lot of times, people do 1 or 2 deals, and what I get really upset with is not only wholesaling, because with wholesaling, I used to put a lot of content out there saying that you shouldn't pay for wholesaling because you can learn this stuff pretty quickly. But what's really concerning now to me is the credit financing, the sub 2 that's being taught, because I see so many people that are getting into problems with this stuff because they don't know the full thing, man. And so anyways, that's just my 2 cents on that, brother.
I agree. Like, the reason why I help people for free is I just try to give them from 0 to 100. If I can bring from $0 a year to 100K a year, once you make it 100K a year, you can afford to have an attorney help you with a sub 2. Just focus on getting out of poverty, getting out of the situation you're at, then focus on the actual wealth building stuff. So I like to separate those businesses out the best I can, because sub 2 is a different beast than wholesaling. Wholesaling is quick money. Sub 2 is for my family, and that's for like generational wealth stuff that you just can't take away. Like 2008 happens again, I got enough properties where I'm fine. And that lets me sleep the best at night. The wholesaling is just ramping up that net worth. But yeah, man, that's cool. But almost 100 properties, that's impressive. That's the biggest flex I've seen. So that's awesome.
We've been at it for a while, man. We've been at it since 2012. So,
and many more to come. So LLC capture, what is that? Explain this to me.
All right. I'm going to give you the clip notes, guys, but I'm going to blow your mind right now. Okay.
I'm ready,
because I'm always how do we figure out problems and how do we get creative? So our biggest deal, and I have no problem, man, about if we do another one, I'll show you the HUD, I'll show you how our company got recorded. with the county, everything, man. So what I have is I have a couple guys that I've mentored over many years, and they become expert ninja researchers. Mm-hmm. And they either do this for reverse wholesaling, or they do this to find tax foreclosures, but especially LLCs that are inactive with the state, like here in Texas. If you're inactive with the state, you can't contract. Yeah. But the thing is, if you're also in jeopardy of getting foreclosed, guess what happens? It takes about 6 weeks to fix that stuff with the comptroller and with the Secretary of State. So what happens is you find somebody has an LLC who has property in it, they're going to lose it foreclosure because, it's pending foreclosure. Now, we used to do a lot of these, but when the COVID hit, there was a moratorium, so we backed off on them, but now we're starting to hit them again. So what happens, guys, is this. You find the individual who owns the LLC, and you let them know that their property is up for foreclosure and you want to help. I always say, I want to help you, man. I'm always saying I'm interested, I want to help you. Especially I say it on subject to, because in my belief, I don't think you're buying anything with subject to. So I always say I'm interested and I want to help. And that's how I pursue that. With the LLC capture, there's a litany of documents you got to get. But here's the thing. If I'm talking to you, Zach, and I say, look, Zach, you got this property here. I'm not sure if you know, but it's up for foreclosure and I want to help. I see that it's an LLC that you own. I'd like to work with you on this transaction. Now, if you don't want to work with me, that's fine. But just understand the county has it up for foreclosure. I'm always doing the takeaway also, right? Mm-hmm. And most of the time, these people are like, look, man, I need help. If they haven't paid the taxes, chances are they need help. And then so I get into making them an offer and paying the taxes on the property. And then what I say to them is, look, I'm not sure if you know this, but you really can't personally sell this property. The way we need to do this transaction to make it work is you need to sell me the LLC. You see? So now I'm going to buy the LLC, brother. Okay. Now, there's a few things you got to do. I'm going to just throw them at you real quick. You got to make sure, like with me, like on the deal that I'm talking to you about, the lady, the property is worth like $650,000 here in Monte Vista. It was on a street called Belknap. She was behind $25,000, and she was getting foreclosed. On the night before foreclosure, she called us. She says, "Help!" I got her on the phone. We were working with her till 3 a.m. She talked me up to $200,000. I said, "Look, that's as far as I go. You can lose the property if you want." She said, "Oh no, $200,000 is fine. $200,000 plus the taxes." So what we did, I said, "Look, I can't give you $200,000 right now because I don't know if I can clear title. What we're gonna do, and this is something that we talk about. It's just something that we came up with because it sounds sexy and it sounds a lot better, Zach, than saying seller finance to me or owner finance to me. Check this out. I say, look, man, why don't we do this? Let's secure your interest against us with a reverse note. Okay, we're going to create a note and we're going to record all the documents. We can secure your interest against us, but this is what I need. I need to have a moratorium for 6 months and then an automatic moratorium for an additional 6 months to see if I can clear title. If I can't clear title, you keep my $25,000 and you take the property, you walk away. But during this time, I'm not going to make any payments. And what I do is I get all that drawn up with my attorney. So now we own the LLC. What I also get her to do is also get her to declare on an affidavit how many years she messed up. She didn't record with the comptroller, and what was her estimated proceeds, which is zero most of the time. I get them to fill out the Secretary of State documentation so she can switch. She can make me the registered agent and one of the members, and we remove her. So we get all that stuff done. And so what ends up happening is now I own the LLC. And it takes me about 6 weeks to fix the issues with the comptroller, fix the issues with the SOS. Now I own the LLC. The LLC owns whatever's in the LLC. For example, the property. And so now we take those properties and we sell them. We sell them. I want to say that's what we call a wholesale, a creative wholesale, brother.
Wow. So you secure the interest with a reverse note. That's what you're telling the seller.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it sounds a lot better than saying, look, I can't pay you $200,000 right now because, I know you want the money. I know we agreed on it, but I mean, I got to clear title. It's the night before taxes. And how about you seller finance to me? They don't want to hear that. So I say, let's secure your interest, Zach, with a reverse note. And they're like, okay, that sounds good. Yeah, it does sound good because your interest is secured. We're going to record everything.
That's exactly what I do in a different way. Like we get to the same point. We do it a different way, but we get to the same point. Where like that's what I do. It works so well for me. Mm-hmm. So I'll just say something that's not seller finance. That's kind of ambiguous, if it makes sense, where they're like, explain, and then we explain the same thing, and then boom, we get the deal. I just say willing to take payments, and they're like, what's that? And then you just explain from there. That sounds a lot more sexy, and that's probably a lot better. Might be using that instead, but wow, that's huge.
Every time, man, I talk to someone, man, and you're telling them what you're doing, Zach, let's secure your interests against us with a reverse note. We're going to go ahead and create documents for you to secure your interest against us so that you know you're secure now. And they're like, yeah, that sounds logical to me.
Wow. Also, guys, I'm not a lawyer, financial advisor, or anything. So again, I don't think Charles is a lawyer, financial advisor. So this isn't technically legal advice. Remember, in your state, something could be different. So keep that in mind. But wow, that's interesting. So my next question here is, are wraps legal in Texas? So I keep hearing a lot of things about some sort of creative finance is different in Texas. I'm trying to understand it. So yeah, I hear it all the time.
The wraps are legal here in Texas. They just recently passed the legislature. I think they're still trying to. I don't know if they passed it yet. They're trying to get a hold of all these subject to wraps. They're trying to get a hold of people wrapping properties that they don't have. They're not on the. In other words, if I take a sub 2, I'm not on that. That's not my loan. They're trying to get away from that. Yeah. But yeah, man, subject 2 wraps here in Texas. That's all day long. I mean, that is something that happens every day, every city, every big creative financer or real estate person that I know. That's they're either doing subject to wraps, subject to rentals, subject to Airbnbs. So that's big here in Texas. So what you can't do in Texas is contract for deeds, like rental homes. You can't do that.
Okay, just letting everyone know in Texas there. So, for sub 2s for the average one for you, how much are you giving down? Like, how much of a payment are you giving to the seller usually, just to take everything over?
Man, brother, when we first started doing this stuff, it was common for us to drop $18,000, $15,000, $20,000. Paying a wholesaler, $10,000, paying a reinstatement. It was common for us. Today, as it is today, I turn on so many of those deals, and let me tell you why. We've gotten so good at finding these deals that we're finding individuals who don't have no reinstatement. We target new homes because I don't care about the equity. We target new homes because we don't have to do a rehab. So you don't have to do a rehab. You don't have to do no reinstatement. Guess what? If I'm taking out a property, let's just say it's $250,000, ARV's 260, 262. I put it on the market for a small little premium of $270. Take 10, 15 down. Interest rate, let's just say on my VA sub 2 that I'm taking, let's just say it's 3.5, and I'm selling at an 8.9. I'm happy. And the other thing is too that my loan on the underlying lien is going to go down faster than theirs, so I'm also building equity into the deal. So I'm making money 3 ways. And so on these subject 2s, most of the time, unless it's coming from a wholesaler, which will pay anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, we're not putting any of these down. Most of the people that we take subject 2s from, which is primarily military, they're ready to give up the properties. And let me tell you why. Because they get PCS orders, they got to go. Yeah. And if they got to go, they ain't got, it's not that they don't got a choice, but they don't have very, very much options. So we are a very good option for them. And so they're usually giving up the properties very easily.
Yeah. And honestly, like I hear a lot of people say it's fraudulent to be doing this, or if you don't have the means to do it, like the way you do it, like you got enough properties as leverage that if someone does a due on sale clause, you can easily pay it. I'm worried about the 18-year-old kid that does this and the due on sale clause happens because they're very messy with their paperwork and they can't afford it. And then the seller's screwed. So I think that's huge also on there.
I tell people all the time, a lot of times people will ask me like, because this stuff that we do, Zach, it's not for everybody, man. Everybody is a little bit different. But sometimes people will ask me, what can I do? I say, you know what? Let me teach you how to find subject 2s. I know a lot of people that buy them. Let me teach you how to find them. Now, I'm never going to accept an assignment contract on a sub 2 because I'm always going to contract with the person themselves that owns the property. But I teach people how to find subject 2s. I say, look, man, you find 2 a month and charge anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 to an investor like myself. How much money are you making, man? Is $10,000 a good living?
Yeah.
It's $8,000 a good living, and you're going to have all your time. All you're doing is looking for 2 properties. Well, how do I find them, Charles? Well, let me tell you how to find zero equity deals the way we do, which is the ones I love. You go farming in new subdivisions. Either knock on doors, put flyers, or start calling people and letting those individuals know, especially here in San Antonio, if they're military and you find yourself in a situation where you got orders, you got to go and you can't sell the property because you're competing with the builder down the street, give me a call. I got a solution for you. And I can't tell you how many times people will call and say, hey, I got your flyer, or I got your call, or I got your SMS. I have a problem.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt you're in Texas where there's a huge inflow of people coming in. This is kind of like Florida where there's huge inflow of people from outside, especially with money that's coming in. They'll just eat that stuff up. So that's also great. Like, I think you're in a great market too. San Antonio is a good one. Farming new subdivisions, that's a good one. You keep it simple though. It's like, hey, find a new subdivision, go out there, door knock.
I'm gonna give you guys a couple of nuggets, man, because I know Zach's about giving nuggets, man. And what he told me, I said I got to give some nuggets, man. So look, guys, if you target new subdivisions, especially where there's military, you have to understand that there's usually another subdivision down the street being built. Like here in San Antonio is Boomtown, USA. So if somebody's getting orders to ship out, because they usually buy within 2 years, they usually hear 2 years they got to go, they have no equity. So you know that a real estate agent is going to be talking to them about possibly doing a short sale or maybe renting it out, being out of state landlords. They can't sell because they're competing with the builder down the street. So that's a really good way to target those. Now, another way, for example, everybody's always targeting equity, which is great. We do too. But a lot of times people tell me, what about the older homes? What I say to them is this. If you're looking at data, learn how to read the data. If you're looking at data and you're looking at older homes and you see they have a brand new loan on them, like an FHA, VA especially, and you see it's a 2017, 18, 19, or 20, the older, the newer, the better, you have to assume that property was rehabbed. And if that property was rehabbed, that means very little rehab cost to you. And if you're capturing that property on a foreclosure list, that means now you're dealing just possibly with a reinstatement. So that's how you find properties. For me, sub 2s was little to no rehab in them. Now, the ones you do go after, with if you want to take those down that are sub 2s, those are we call sub 2 flips. They have a lot of equity. We can decide to cash them out. We say, hey, look, how about I give you $2,000? You walk away. Let me use your loan for about 2-3 months. We don't explain it that way, but just for clip notes, we use their loan for 2-3 months, fix the property, get it online, cash it out. That's it.
Oh, that's it. Are those called subtails?
We call them subject 2 flips.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Sub 2 flips, yeah.
That's awesome. And so next thing I want to shift here is wholesaling wise. San Antonio is, I get DMs all the time that says San Antonio sucks. It's the worst wholesaling market ever. That you can't make any money. And then I see people like you doing $145,000 deals. And I'm like, is San Antonio really the problem or is it you? Obviously, San Antonio's got a lot of big players. There's a lot of people throwing a lot of money in just pulling lists and, skip tracing them and SMSing, cold calling them. You're finding really good results. So how do you do well in San Antonio when it's a little saturated? Not too saturated, but just a little.
Well, I want to qualify something. That one was our best LLC capture. So it was a creative wholesale transaction because we took it down as an LLC capture. But when it comes to the wholesaling, I mean, it's a mixed bag. I mean, for example, we've took it on the nose a few times. We get a lot of contracts and, the numbers aren't there. But right now, I think anybody in San Antonio that's really being committed and you're staying you're staying with it, you're going to get a deal, 1, 2, 3 deals a month. Even if you're just a solopreneur, you're going to make it happen. You got to be consistent. The spreads here, man, depending on what you're going after, you're going to get anything from 10 to 30,000, average. Better deals, anywhere from 40 to 50, but you gotta understand the city. I tell everybody, understand your city. So here's San Antonio. I had a good friend of mine, Armando Olivares from Washington, D.C., came here, and I drove him all around the city, and I told him where everything was at. I said, look, man, the deals here are in the conservation areas and the historical areas. There's a big boom here going on for that. And if you concentrate on the historical areas there's a lot of, gentrification going on, and conservation areas, you're going to pop 40s and 50s all day long. Okay, you just got to know how to get them. Now, the rest of the city, you can find deals, but unless it's a tax foreclosure type of transaction, you're going to hit one out of the ballpark. You're going to probably hit 10, 20,000, and like me, I don't concentrate on areas. It's not that I won't do deals on the south side of San Antonio. I just don't concentrate in those areas. I don't concentrate in areas that are not lucrative. For example, south side of San Antonio, a little more depressed. West side of San Antonio, very depressed. Why would you concentrate there? So you want to concentrate in the areas where there's activity, where there's new development, where there's Walmart, where there's schools. You want to concentrate in those areas because those are the areas where you're going to find the deals.
100% with you there. The one thing you did say about the gentrification is we can go to debate if that's good or not for anyone. I can't control it, so I can't control it. But some gentrified areas where they're doing it right now are absolutely amazing, where no one really understands that it's about to pop, but you understand it, and you understand the people going around building it, but the sellers might not, or the people around it, or other realtors, and you can go out there and just destroy some of those markets. So that's a huge one.
San Antonio, there's areas of San Antonio that have been completely turned around.
Yeah.
And look, is it a good thing, bad thing? Like, I don't know, man. All I know is this life happens, and it's going to happen whether you agree with it or not. And I will say that huge parts of San Antonio have totally been redone and look beautiful, man.
Yeah, 100% there. So that market's really good. Those are really good. But what are your way? Because I know you got Manny on here, and I've seen Manny before online, and he's pretty legit on acquisitions. That dude knows how to talk to people, and he knows how to get deals done. So how did you find him? And how could someone trying to create a good wholesaling system find a Manny that could literally just go out there and close deals?
So here's the thing, long story short, Manny came to us by way of a referral, and he, with the exception of Mike, I will say this. Manny, for example, Manny comes from Venezuela. He didn't come here speaking English. He taught himself. He's very committed.
Really?
He didn't speak no English. Ooh. And he came here as a 17-year-old into Chicago. He lived there for a few years. But he's a top person that when he sets his mind to something, that's what he does. And what I noticed about Manny when he first, because people come into my office, you get turnaround, you get people that leave, people that stay. And I'll spend time with people when I start seeing that they're committed. And what I noticed about him, he's always coming in. So I started, hey, come to my office, and started dropping knowledge on him, And what I noticed about him is that he was the only guy out of all the guys I ever showed this business to who was writing notes, like detailed notes, not scribble. I'm talking about detailed notes on everything I would say. And one day with him and my other guy, Alejandro, I took them to the side because they're very young. I said, look, guys, I need to be able to talk to you quick, fast, without you getting hurt. I need to be able to talk to the 32-year-old in you that's going to look back and say, if I only knew what I knew now when I was 21, my whole life would be different. If you let me do that, I will show you a lot of stuff. And here's the thing. I don't take credit, Zach, for anything that they teach themselves now. But what I will say is they allowed us, Michael and myself, to pour into them. And now, I mean, they're it's hard, guys. It is hard to find people that are loyal. It's hard to find people that are going to be down with you for many, many years. I've had some of these guys for 4 years. The thing about Manny's a very special person because, it's hard to find somebody that aggressive and that has that fortitude, that resolve to want to do what he wants to do. And, when he first started, Zach, he was having a hard time. It took about 8 months to get a deal, but I wouldn't quit on him. I would not fire him because I don't fire anybody here, Zach. Nobody here works for me. There's no employees here, brother. Everybody works with, not for us. That's our motto. And I just kept telling him, just keep coming, man. One day, as I would listen to him, I said, Manny, let me tell you what your problem is. You're good, man. You got the information. Your problem is that you have an accent. And when you're calling people, you're thinking that they're judging you, which is not allowing you to just let it flow. You're consciously thinking about that. I said, so what I want you to do is when you call people, I want you to say, hey, look, Mr. Jones, my name is Manny. I'm an investor from Venezuela here in the States. I'm in San Antonio looking for some properties. And I want to talk to you about yours. What that's going to allow you to do subconsciously, man, it's going to allow you to get that out of your head. So they already know why you told me you're from Venezuela. They already know why you have an accent. And guess what? He did that for 2 weeks. And after that, about a month later, I heard him in the back, and we joke around about this. I heard him in the back talking to a client saying, come on, Papi, you know you're doing me wrong. And I looked at him, I said, what are you doing? But he was in his zone. And that's what you guys got to do. I tell everybody, man, you got to get into your zone. I tell my people here, if you come in here and you want to sit down and you treat this like a job, then it's going to be a job. But if you come in here and you think that, man, I'm here to change something for myself, because you're not here to work for me. You're here to work. You're here to bang for yourself so you can grow. Every single person you talk to on the phone is listening to you. You got to be able to convey your message and talk to them. They got to be able to feel you. You got to be able to, to let your body flow when you're talking to these people. Because if you're there like, hello, Mr. Jones, was calling you, they're going to feel like, you know what, man, I don't want to talk to this guy. And so that's what I share with all these people here, man. Some of them take it to heart. Some of them don't. But Manny's a special case, brother.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack there. That's huge. But I can tell you right now, if there's a lot of people who have accents watching this. Generally, nobody cares about your accent. They care about the one thing. Can you actually help them with their problem? Mm-hmm. That's it. You subconsciously not being confident yourself is going to end it. I'm in Florida. Nobody really cares. Like a Spanish accent, nobody really cares. Like it's almost natural, especially in South Florida. San Antonio, I mean, there must be a lot of people that are used to that, right?
So that's the thing, that's something I'm real big about, Zach, is about, remember I told you about, I'm always trying to help somebody figure out where they're at and what they're doing. So for example, here in Texas, believe it or not, I mean, finding a Spanish accent is very hard. Like I've been in I went to Miami, Tampa, and we were down there for a while, and we met a lot of people. You talked to a lot of people that had that accent, that Cuban flavor, that Venezuelan flavor. You don't find that here. Because a lot of Hispanics that are American born don't speak Spanish, so they don't have that accent. So it wasn't about, for example, like him. I knew that it was in his own mind, and so I just needed to. Hey man, I had to figure out a way. Like, how do I get him out of that? And it took him 2 weeks, and now he's in the zone. And that's what anybody out there. Like I have people that come work with me from Alabama. And they have like a little draw, Yeah. And I had to pull them to the side and say, look, man, I'm going to share something with you. It's not that I'm trying to hurt you. I'm trying to help you. For example, like when I answer the phone, I'm like, hello, this is Charles. How can I help you? I don't always talk like that, but I understand that whoever's listening to me, they need to feel excited. They need to feel that I'm in command. You got to have a command of yourself, and so that's what I share with them. So another thing, like, for example, like with my people here, I say, if somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer to it, I tell all of them, the one thing HBHS doesn't do is don't lie, man, and don't make up shit to get a deal. So, for example, if somebody asks you a question, just say, you know what, Mr. Jones, I don't know the answer to that question, but I know my partner does. I'll get with you a little bit later. But back to the property, just pivot back to the property. The thing is, you answered the question. That's what they want. They want you to give them an answer. They don't want you to give them bullshit. And so that's what I show my people here, man.
It literally, I cannot agree with you more. I see people saying, if you're doing virtual wholesaling and someone asks you if you're in the area, don't, like, if I'm virtually doing San Antonio, they ask me if I live here. I'm like, no, I'm in Florida. But I have partners that live there and they work there too. Like, they will respect you more for telling the truth than you lying. Mm-hmm. And if you get caught in a lie with the seller, you lose that trust instantly. That's everything. So that's huge. Great gems today. Whoa. Okay. So a lot going on there. I definitely got to break down everything with Manny, have one with Michael. We got to break down the whole thing here. But on the acquisition side, that's amazing. On the disposition side, how are you selling these deals?
So Michael and I don't share this a lot, man. And I actually just shared it today for the very first time with a good friend of mine. And I'll go ahead and share it now. But Michael and I invested for all these years. Like, we have a massive, massive buyers list. And guys, I want you to know, when you hear me say this, understand that we don't even utilize about 10% of that, not even 5% of that, because it's massive. Wow. I got every single state. I got hundreds of thousands of buyers, and so and there was a way I got that. I can talk about that at some other time, but it was a way I got that. I have every single state. But here's the thing. We don't even utilize it, guys. What you need is to create relationships with people. Create relationships with about 10, 15 people. Always kind of expand your network if you're going into a different zone. And guess what? If you treat those people right, because those are your customers, guys. You treat those people right, let them make money, sell them good properties, and they're going to want to buy properties from you again. And that's the key thing, guys. You don't need a massive list. It's nice to have, because if you get a property in Michigan, it's nice to have a list that you can turn to right away. But even if I didn't have to, it's not that hard, guys. Zach showed you guys many, many times how to find buyers. We've used that system. We've gone on Zillow, find agents. It's not that hard to find a buyer's list. So our dispo is made up of so Michael oversees all the dispo. He dispos everything, not only from wholesaling, but all the other properties. He oversees all the flips, all that stuff. We do different stuff here. So one of our guys here, one of our young bucks, he's about 22. Man, you believe it or not, man, he pretty much runs the show, man, and negotiating deals left and right, and we totally have much confidence. If he's another Manny, except he's not. He doesn't have the same charisma. He's just very quiet. He's very reserved. Yeah.
Those people close deals all the time. Introvert people, they know how to listen, and that is huge for closing deals. So 100% there. So let's get some questions from the audience and see what we got. I mean, it's a lot of people watching this thing live, so we got a lot of questions. So I'm going to try to get there as much as we can. A lot of love for HBHS, though. I love Charles and HPHS crew, and Zach, too. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We got Morris James. You got Uncle Charles in the house. His protege, my man Manny Cash, my point of contact. These guys are golden in San Antonio. Uncle Charles and Mike are awesome. Morris, thanks, man. Let's see. We already talked about cash buyers here. Sorvin wants to know, how do you choose a market?
So, I always like to be very transparent about stuff. Guys, when we first started thinking about going virtual, man, it was crazy, man. We started thinking about going out of the state or even other cities. We're like, it was like a big roadblock. But guys, you just got to jump, man. You got to do it. So we started with the cities we're familiar with in Texas. Houston, Dallas. We got to know Fort Worth, and then we started going to El Paso. We started to get and understand El Paso. We don't do a lot of it in Austin because that's a whole different animal. But Corpus, the Valley, and we started feeling comfortable with these cities, and now we're very comfortable with them. And then what we did is we started communicating with other individuals from different states and figuring out what areas were very close or similar to Texas. And how the houses were being built. You know what I'm saying? For example, houses up in the north, they got to put the fuel in, they got basements, they got different stuff, and if you're not familiar with how to either rehab that or sell that, you're going to have a hard time. But, we do Florida. We do a little bit of Florida. We do some Georgia. We do a little bit of Alabama. We do some Arizona. We hit California from time to time, New Mexico. We pretty much stay in the South. Right now we have a deal in Minnesota. We've done some deals in Virginia. But a lot of those are referrals. But if we're targeting, it's either going to be Georgia, Florida, Texas, New Mexico. We like to do Arizona every once in a while because, we like to, we just like to do it to say we got one in Arizona because they got all those players out there,
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Jose says, what list are you finding the most success with? I've been driving for dollars, but I want to pull a list and see how it goes.
So last night, man, as a matter of fact, last night, it was the night before. So I know a lot of people around the country, and I said, hey, guys, I want to put together this list. And actually, I just launched it today. And I said, I want all you guys that I respect that are doing deals to give me your 2 to 3 best lists and your 2 best marketing. And we put that into an Excel sheet. We all shared it together. And we're going to try to grow that amongst a bunch of people that everybody can then just dive into it and have access to it and use it as a referral source. So for us, what I'm big on is organic information. Tax delinquents. Right now, we're not doing too many probates, but tax delinquents, code violations, dismissed bankruptcies for subject twos. And guys, why dismiss bankruptcy for subject to? You have to understand that if a person getting dismissed from a bankruptcy to Chapter 13, they went into the 13 because they wanted to save the property, but they're getting kicked out because either they didn't make the payment on the 13 or they didn't make the payment on the mortgage, and now they're out of that. They got to do something. They don't want to get foreclosed. It's a beautiful list. The divorce list is also great for us. Of course, we have a Drawing for Dollars list, and then I'm going to give you guys a nugget. You guys want a nugget? Can I give them a nugget?
Dude, get all of them, please.
Okay. So, guys, I tell this to my people all the time, man. If you're on Zen or SMS or whatever you're doing, and you're looking at properties, now you can't do it with every single one, especially if you're on a dialer because you get behind. But if you're talking to someone, and you're looking up a property, build your own list. How do you do that? So what I tell them is, if you're already looking at the property, just put it on Google Maps, blow it up, and look for the empty lots. And you're always going to find some. You take those lots, you click on them, you get the addresses, you put them to the side. Later on in the evening, whether you have your own VA or not, you do it yourself. Get all the information. Give me the list. We'll skip trace it for you. Now you have your own lot list. So every month I tell these guys, I want to see your list, and I expect at least 100, 150 properties. Sometimes they don't do it, but it's a great way to find extra properties, and it's a great way to take advantage of every single moment doing this business, because you're already looking at the property. Just take that extra step.
That's it. Organic info lots are absolutely insane. Like for vacant land deals, info lots have been absolute killer for me. I'm in Port St. Lucie. There's a lot of builders, but wow, that's huge. Are you having success with that?
Yeah, bro. Let me tell you. So Manny knocked this one out, and I'm gonna share something with him. So Manny's big at taking awesome. Like, he takes everything we share with him and just totally dives into it. So in February, brother, what he did, he looked up a property. He found a lot. Wow. And it was about almost an acre. But what he found, because we looked it up, he found it was an adjacent lot, a little bit bigger, about 1.10. And he looked it up on the MLS, because we have MLS here. And he saw that property had been subdivided into I think it was 12 or 11 lots, and they were selling each lot for $35. Mm-hmm. And then it sold for $390. This is, man, almost like a little more than an acre sold for $390 here in the historical area. We had the lot next to it. It was adjacent to it, and we had the better frontage road. We took that thing, we wholesaled in 30 days, made $40,000. And how did he find that? Just by looking up on the map, looking for another property, looked it up, blew up the map. Oh, look, there's an empty lot. That's it, man.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, you guys, this is some great gems. Like, hands down, this is great stuff. You teach this stuff, and you share some of the stuff on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah. So we, Mike and I, for a while there, we were putting a lot of content out, and I don't know if you know this, Zach, but in last August and September, I was in the hospital because I caught the COVID, and I almost died from it, man. And I was in there for a long time. And it took me a good 5 to 6 months to finally get on these podcasts, because I would be out of breath. I took a lot of lung damage. But we're gonna start putting out content again. That's one of the reasons we stopped, because I was having a hard time with my breathing. But we put a lot of free content out. There's a series of I think 8 videos, brother. And we did some content for Propelio TV, and those are named Propelio. If people go watch those 8 videos, I guarantee you, man, you're going to learn so much about credit financing. You're going to learn so much about research. You're going to learn so much about putting deals together. We went into so much depth that we even disclosed the documents, every single, every little trick. Like, I'll give you one right now. You want a little trick?
Yes, dude.
So for example, there's a website called JPay where you can reach any prisoner. You can communicate by email. Every state has their own county
JPay, JPAY.
Yeah, JPay. You can create an account. If you find so what we do. So for example, we had a deal, and one of the heirs, the family told us he was criminal, so we looked him up, and sure enough, he had problems. I saw that he had just got probation. And I saw his SID number was in Austin. So what I did is I called the Austin probation offices. I said, hey, I'm looking for this probation officer for this individual. And check this out, guys. This is how I do it. I say, look, Mr. Garcia, the reason I'm calling you, my name is so-and-so. The reason I'm calling you is because, Mr. Alex Rodriguez here, that's not his name, but Mr. Alex Rodriguez here, he is due some money from a transaction that we're closing on. And the reason I'm calling you is because he's ghosting us, ghosting the family, and I assume that he owes money to the state, because usually that's the issue. And if there's any way you can help me before this thing goes sideways, I'd hate for the state to lose. Guess what? Call me in 30 minutes. Call me in 30 minutes, and then I make a deal with the probation officer, send a check to him. What we do is we set up with a UPS. Hey, go to the UPS. UPS prints the documents, notarizes them, mails them back to us right there and then. All he has to do is go to the UPS store and sign. And so that's a good way to find individuals, especially that they're in trouble. If they have, if they're locked up, you use JPay to find them. Or you want to do a background check on them? You get their here in Texas it's called TDC number, and then you use that number to find them on JPay. Send them an email.
Wow, you get paid directly for the problems you solve in wholesaling, and that's a huge problem, especially when you got someone in prison or jail that they need help with. So that's amazing. Wow. Woo.
Just little nuggets, man. We've learned a lot of stuff over the years, and I made it a point that I said, Zach's gonna put me on this show, man. I'm gonna drop some stuff, man.
I love it, man. I love it. Great info, Charles. Thanks for always bringing it, Zach. I appreciate it. Thanks, Kenny. Great episode. Going to rewatch it later, guys. This is going to be an awesome one. We got Don showing the love here. I'm loving it. Let's see. Damien wants to know, do you find more success with cold calling or SMS?
I want to say for us, man, it's a mixture of both. At this point, I wouldn't give up either one. I know there's some issues coming up with the Trace Act, but at this point, I wouldn't give up either one. I'll tell you what we've never had success in. We've never had success with RVMs. That's not my thing. We do mail, but we do very targeted mail. We do it from all the follow-ups. We do the mail from that. And then, for example, the way we do the mail is if the mail comes back, that we know there's nobody living in the home. If the mail doesn't come back, we know there's probably somebody there, so we're going to try to contact whoever's there. So that's how we use the mail. Something that we're actually launching, Zach, today, our first one. We're gonna go deep into PPC, man. I made the decision. We're gonna go PPC, man. So I have to, man, because I got people. I got to do more inbound, and so we're gonna keep the cold calling, the SMSing, the mail. Of course, once let a little bit more time pass, we're gonna get back to door knocking. I used to take my people into neighborhoods, all dressed really nice, knocking on doors. You make a statement like that, everybody's like, "Who are those guys?" But we're gonna launch PPC, so that's something we're dabbling in.
Let's get it going, man. That's exciting, dude. That's awesome. I have a question about Mojo. If you have 10 numbers for a caller, should I call 10 or keep it at 5? How many lines are you dialing right now for your cold calling?
So we use Zen, and I want to say I think we do 10. Okay. So full disclosure, guys, like we have a lot of these systems, but at some point you gotta delegate this stuff. So like my boy Frank, he runs. I think I've been on Zen call 2 times. If I'm calling somebody, I'm calling them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I don't get on Zen call. I don't get on Podio. They do all that stuff, man.
Delegation is the key here. 100% agree with you there. Leonardo wants to know how many times do you have to dial to get a deal, or how many leads for one deal for you?
Well, I'll put it to you like this, brother. And Manny used to say this a lot, and I believe in it. If you come to work or wherever you're at, if you're working from home, you gotta have a place that's yours, man. Or if you're at Starbucks, you gotta get in the zone. Yeah. You have to be willing to accept 100 no's at minimum to get that one deal. Because when you get that deal on the 10th call or the 20th call, guess how good you're gonna feel, man? You're gonna feel awesome. But if you come in thinking that, man, it's not happening for you, man, you gotta put your time in, man. If you're doing the cold calling, then you gotta be willing to take 100 no's, man, at minimum. And you gotta feel good about it. You gotta embrace it. We have this thing here called DFND. And I tell it to all my people, it's called discouragement, frustration, negativity, and defeat. I tell my people, I need you to make them your friends. What are you talking about, Charles? Make them your friends because they're going to come for you every single day. They're going to beat your ass down. But if you make them your friend, guess what's going to happen? You're going to walk out of here every day knowing that you got better at what you were doing. So the next day you come in, you're going to hit it harder.
That's it, man. I'm telling you, be comfortable being uncomfortable. You got to have thick skin. I always had a chip on my shoulder because I had so many wholesalers when I started out telling me that I sucked and I can't do anything. And obviously being a bag boy, that put me over the edge. But that was just out of spite. But that's huge. So can you say that one more time, just so people can write it down?
So I got this thing. It's called DFND.
DFND.
Yeah, Delta. F is in Foxtrot. N is in November, and then Delta again. DFND. Defeat, discouragement, frustration, negativity, and defeat. Embrace that shit, man. Embrace it. Take it to heart. Make them your friend. Because if you do that, nothing will hurt you, man. And you'll go through those 100 calls, and you'll be fine with it. And the 101st call, what's going to happen is when you get to that and they say no again, you're going to be fine with it. And then when you get that deal, you're going to be like, oh, man, I get it. The next one will get easier, man. It'll get easier. I promise you.
Boom. That's it, man. AD says, I could tell Charles is a patient and loving mentor. Props to you on making a family and not just a team.
Thank you.
That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. Last couple questions here is, hey, Zach and Charles, how do you feel about virtual assistants?
With virtual assistants, man, at one point, we had up to 20 virtual assistants, and sometimes, guys, it's not going big. It's not what it's all cracked up to be, man. Yeah. Sometimes, you can do the same amount of work with just having 3 good VAs that are bringing in the leads. Because what happens is once if you have such a big team like that, and you think you need that, it's a lot of money going out, a lot of people not really doing their work. And so I say use VAs, man, use them carefully, but use what you need. If you need a VA to start taking, work off your plate so you can concentrate on what really needs to happen, that's when you need a VA.
That's it. Last question here is, let's see where it's at. Last question we got here is from Nick Tim. I want to get into land or lot wholesaling. Seems difficult to find comps and land value. A lot of times I've tried to research. So question on that one, is how are you finding comps for your land deals or those infill lots?
I want to give you props because I saw you do. I actually watched one of your videos. I think it was last night. It had to do with land. And I was very impressed, man. I mean, I shout out to you and your dad. I would say to you, look, man, I could sit here and give you a synopsis on how we do it, but at the end of the day, go watch Zach's video. That was a beautiful video, man. How you explained it, I wouldn't be able to do it any more justice than what you did.
All right, perfect, man. I appreciate that. So again, I do reverse wholesaling on it, but I just figure out the cash buy I'll pay for. But we can get in that a little later. So last question for you, since this is the Bags Riches podcast. I know you watched some of it, so I think you know the question here. But I started out $300 in my bank account as a bag boy. If you were back at 17 years old, 18 years old in San Antonio, you got $300 on your back, what would you do to become the next Charles Hernandez?
Man, if I could get all my time back, I'd be a monster right now. I'll tell you right now, man. Man, the amount of information that everyone has right now is just crazy, man. But if I had 300, I tell you, I'll give you one better, man. In 2011, on January 2011, brother, I had $200 in my pocket.
Wow.
I lost everything. I had about, when the crash came, I had about, somewhere close to 3 mil, 7 houses, lost everything. There's a reason why I lost everything. Just bills kept coming. You don't shut down, and I didn't shut down right. And I had $200 in my pocket. I was making no money, and I had to make a decision, man. I need to do something. So I went and borrowed some money to start an LLC. And that LLC was home buying, home selling. And I went to a friend of mine who was a broker. I said, brother, I need to start a real estate company right now. And he sponsored my real estate company. And within about 3 days, I had a couple of deals, hired a few agents, and I just went, man. I mean, at some point, guys, you can only hit rock bottom, man. But if you're going to dig the hole, it's a different story, man. You hit rock bottom, you got to get up, man.
Boom. That's it. Charles, thank you so much for coming on. is there any parting thoughts you have for the audience before we hop off today?
I mean, with your permission, of course, I'd like everybody to follow us, our IGs, Michael's Mr. Hustle on IG. I'm Uncle Charles, HPHS. With your permission, Zach, I have a Facebook group. We put a lot of content out. It's called Home Buying Wholesaling Association. We do have the Home Buying Wholesaling RIA Association that's physical, but eventually we're going to launch that virtual pretty soon. That's coming. And then, guys, if you're looking, for help or anything, man, I'm always willing to help. People send me, I answer everybody's questions myself. If you send me a question, I did share with you, Zach, we do some coaching on stuff too, but I respect your show, man. And I'm not here for that. I'm just here, as you notice, to drop value. So, if anybody has a question, feel free to hit me up. Now, if it's a lot of them, it might give me a minute to respond, but I do answer all. I do answer all my own questions.
That's awesome, man. Just search HBHS space real estate on Google or whatever. His stuff will pop up. Got a really cool website. All of his stuff's on there. Watch him on Facebook. Let's get it going. So, can't wait to have Michael on the show, Manny on the show. We're going to break everything down. Great stories. Charles, thank you so much for hopping on. I can't wait to see your success. And it's going to take a lot more than COVID to get rid of you. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see your success. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, man.